Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Leaping Lotus Wellness Studio is the name of the business, and we have our good friend here joining us today, Lina, Leelah, Lina. It's just so Ellie. Leaping Lotus, Lina, Leelah. I love it. But Carpenito, welcome to the show, darling. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, sweetheart. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Miss Lina, she's been with us for so many weeks now, talking about her wellness programs and her health programs, her yoga therapy, you name it, she does it. She's out of Elmwood Park, New Jersey, and her website is leapinglotusfit.com. Say hello to your audience, please.
Hello, audience. How is everybody? I have to say, I am loving every minute of this. I'm just loving it. It's so much fun connecting with everybody, and I hope everybody's enjoying it as much as I am.
Good. Absolutely. Well, I am as well. And for those that don't even know you yet, give us a little bit of your background. Tell us what you do, and we'll begin our awesome conversation.
Okay. My name is Leelah Carpenito. As Jill said, it's full of L's. But I'm a yoga therapist. Been a yoga therapist for quite some time. I have to think. I'd have to think back. It was probably 2007 or 8, something like that.
Okay.
It's been a journey. Love everything about it. But if anybody doesn't know what yoga therapy is, I will give a quick explanation. Because on the outside, when people come to a session, it would probably look almost like a physical therapy assessment. You know, we could be measuring range of motion joints. We could be measuring pain level. Obviously, that's a verbal conversation. There's an intake. It parallels a lot with physical therapy, with some sort of, orthopedic programs. However, the component and what makes it so unique is we really hone in on what's the person's lifestyle like. Their happiness level, their satisfaction with life level, what could juice them up. And we talk about juice a lot. In yoga therapy, it's called ojas.
Okay.
Ojas is, I know this is a new name, a new thing I'm throwing out. Ojas is like literally your juice. And, a lot of times we dry out, we burn out, we fluctuate, so it's kind of like, what's going on? How can we make this better? Where is your pain coming from? Physical therapy addresses pain on the physical level. Yoga therapy addresses pain a lot of times on the emotional level. And that's really where the mind-body thing kind of comes together, because we don't separate them. Whereas in a lot of different therapies, they're treating symptoms, they're treating body parts, they're treating, and it all works. But this it's a very unique little niche. I now over the years have really branched out into Ayurvedic yoga therapy and Ayurvedic medicine. Hopefully being an Ayurvedic doctor in a year and a half or so. I mean, that's underway, so yes, practitioner levels coming, so we're doing it.
Great.
Because I realized that I can't separate them, and doing anything about. I know everybody is like, "What the heck is Ayurveda?" I feel like people don't even know.
I know because you've told me, but not everyone knows. So you could tell us quickly.
It's a sister component, how I feel, to yoga therapy, where it really handles a little bit more of the emotional state of the client, a lot more of the emotional state of the client. Ayurveda says, and you'll hear this in all my other podcasts, that disease starts in the brain. Disease starts in the mind. The disease process, we believe from an Ayurvedic perspective, starts in the mind. And so there's a really interesting journey that we follow and a really interesting path. Mm-hmm. And I'll explain that. In Ayurveda, we have 4 stages,
okay,
where we can look at somebody's overall health before they even get diagnosis from a Western doctor. Let's take high blood pressure, very common, right? Before you even get a diagnosis from a doctor, there are so many things you can do in Ayurveda to prevent it. so much. And I would say that it does fall under the self-care preventative category. And it also does manage the disease process, and it
Mm-hmm.
does support. I've plenty of clients undergoing chemotherapy that use Ayurveda and yoga therapy to support their Western medicine. So there is not a separation.
Mm-hmm.
It works. Treatment you have, whatever medicine you're taking, it is not, I am not on this bandwagon of get off your meds, do this. No, we complement and we literally support whatever's going on.
Got it.
That's the beauty. It's not extreme. It's not scary. It really just holds you every step of the way.
Beautiful. Great. I love it. And for today's conversation, we want to talk a little bit more about the thriving aspect, right? About moving from surviving to thriving. Could you elaborate on that, what that means?
So we've talked about this in so many different ways,
Mm-hmm.
you and I, Jill. And, you know, I have a lot of clients that come to me and, they're like, my life is boring. My life is humdrum. I don't feel satisfied. I don't feel nourished. Like there's no happiness, there's no joy. And when people start to describe those things to me, that's really at the survival level. And I would say that's a lot of us. We literally wake up, do the same thing every day, go to bed, wake up and do the same thing again the next day. And weekends are even the same. A lot of times, what do we do on the weekends? We get our groceries done, we get our laundry done, we clean our house. There's just that constant to-do list, and our whole entire life is a to-do list. And that is it is necessary. We can't escape chores and things we have to do. We need to go to the grocery store to eat. We need, a clean home. We need all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, we say like just existing,
Yeah.
and it feels like even just, there's a level of like flat. It's flat when you say I'm just existing. So thriving is finding and starting to see the beauty in all of the things. It's learning how to live your life past that to-do list. It's learning to not be a slave to your chores. It's learning to not be a slave to the expectations that life puts on you, like paying bills and all of the humdrum things that we all have to do, right? There's no escaping life, like what we call daily things. But can we see beauty in our mistakes? Can we see beauty in where we fall down or where life throws us a curveball?
Mm-hmm.
What happens to us when life doesn't go the way we want? Do we put our head under the blanket, or do we sit with it and say, well, I wasn't expecting that. What do I do now?
Yeah.
And when yourself those questions, Jill, that's the pinnacle moment of shifting from surviving to thriving.
That's
it's
right.
in that moment.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you guys some examples.
Sure.
I think the biggest thing of thriving is finding a purpose. I cannot say enough about this. Finding something that you love, a purpose, something that, whether it's volunteering or a hobby, knitting, crocheting, I don't know, painting, a purpose, something that drives you and that calls you. I know. For me, it is my work, but I'm lucky to have found that. I don't know about you.
My passion is listening to country music and driving my car. And every so often I do it when I work in the city, like this morning. So at 2 a.m., I'm like, I feel at ease, even though I'm getting up early, not getting enough sleep. It makes me happy because I'm usually super busy with my kids, my family. That's my away time. So people think, what? You like driving, commuting to the city? I'm like, at 2 a.m, no one's on the road. I listen to my music. I'm at peace. I love it. Yeah.
That's it. You're like in your that you're in your like you're feeling it, right? You're feeling the fullness of it.
Yeah.
I was just saying to a friend over the weekend, I'm curious. So another thing on this list is learning something new. Something new that I want to do is take a pottery class. I've never done it, but like a wheel pottery class, actually do
Aw.
something. Try this. I'm curious. I mean, I love art and I love doing all things, but I've never done this before. And there's something, I don't know, cool to me about touching clay and figuring out how to turn it into something. I don't know. There's something that's like sounds really neat about it. So that also, it's that desire to want to try something, step outside of your comfort zone. Yeah, I've never done this before. I have no idea. I mean, I'm okay, whoever, whatever. If it comes out a blob, it comes out a blob.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the experience. Do we allow ourselves to do that? You know, and a lot comes up when we are so stuck in our way of just, I do this at this time, this at this time. You know, we go into autopilot, like robot mode. And it's ask ourselves, like, do we want to live and be a robot? Or do we want to feel alive? Like, what makes you feel alive? What is it? That's such a great question to ask yourself. What makes you feel alive? You know, I had a client the other night and she said, I just put some music on and dance around my living room for hours. I'm like, amazing.
That's perfect.
Amazing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, what calls you, you know, whatever. If it's reading a book on the couch with like a cozy cup of tea, if it's going to explore on a hike, or like you said, getting in your car and driving, that's so like therapeutic.
Yeah.
Do we even allow ourselves to explore the options?
Yeah, you're right. We don't sometimes.
I don't think we. So this is where health and wellness coaching, this is where yoga therapy, Ayurvedic yoga therapy really can come in, because we can sit and figure all this stuff out. What is calling you? What is drawing you out? What is we call it leaky bucket syndrome, which is really funny. Like I tell clients your bucket's leaky because
Oh yeah, fill up your bucket, and yes, that's cute.
Or like, you know, what your energy, and that's what I say to people when they come in totally depleted. I'm like, well, what? Plug your holes. Plug the holes in your bucket.
Yeah.
What's leaking, and why? And it's such a great thing to sit and look and say, evaluate. Do I really need this in my life? Is it serving me? Is it lifting me up, or is it just sucking the life out of me?
Yeah.
These are such important things. And these are all questions to move from surviving to thriving. And, you know, we'll talk a little bit about limiting beliefs too. What is a limiting belief, first of all? Any idea?
Well, it's something that I have them. So what are they? I'm not good enough. I'm not going to get that job because I'm not good enough, or there's someone better. So I'm limiting my own thought process to something that I shouldn't be, but out of my own insecurities. And is that kind of what it is? Because yeah, I feel it like it is. You're the expert.
Oh, you're awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's and it starts limiting beliefs start from like teeny tiny childhood, where, you know, I can't ride a bike, or I can't get on a swing set because I'm afraid I'm going to fall, or I won't make the soccer team, you know, or like, oh my God, test anxiety. Like, I'm not good enough to take that test. And then as we grow up, not good enough to get into that college, you know, to adulthood of how I don't see how it's possible to lose 20 pounds. How can I ever feel better? I feel so like, how could I ever stop drinking, you know, 3 pots of coffee a day? How could I ever, you know, get myself on a regular sleep schedule? I can't. And limiting beliefs are, I would say, probably the biggest reason why we stay in survival mode. And we all have them, Jill. We all, every single one of us. It's just, there's no escaping. But I look at it this way: cool opportunity to flip the switch on it, right?
True.
If you know belief, then you can, there's a choice. You know, we can work with it, and or we could ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
But just choice and the conscious decision to work on it, that's more than half the battle. Once you recognize it as a limiting belief, it all of a sudden doesn't become so limiting anymore just by seeing it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
The blinders off.
Have you had limiting
So,
beliefs as well? I got to ask. I could ask you a personal question. Okay. I didn't know. Well, you're in this field of, do you still have them? I should say.
of course, I'm not like not human.
Okay. Okay. Good point. Yeah.
But the beauty of it is that when you see that um, and you own that, you work with it, and it does get easier when you recognize the chatter in your head and you recognize that there's just a belief that's stopping you. And the biggest thing is to then trace it back to where did
Mm-hmm.
that belief come from? Where did that? How did that get there? Because we put it there somewhere, somehow, somewhere we put it there. It's created by us. We just don't realize it,
Yeah.
you know. And then all. I mean, I just went through a scenario this week where I had to take an exam. If I can tell you, and I will tell you, for 3 days after the exam, I was looking up answers, and I was Googling and looking up, did I answer that right? Did I answer that wrong? Did I answer that right? And trying to figure out what my score would have been on this exam. Do you think that's a little nuts? Because I think that's a little nuts.
Yes and no. Yes. Yes. I get it.
I wanted it so badly, and it was so important to me to do well on this that I literally drove myself. I'm like, okay, it is what it is, and if I have to take this again, I will, and so be it. But that's something that is from childhood, and I traced it back. I just went through this whole thing. I'm like, wow, okay, Lena, I guess you really never let go of that childhood thing, did you?
Yes. Right. Aw.
And you know, but it's still like it was 11 o'clock, I don't know, on Friday night, and I was there. I was with my book, flipping through, and I found one that I knew I got wrong.
Ah.
And I yelling out loud to myself, saying, "Oh my God, I answered it wrong. I'm gonna live. It's gonna be fine."
Yeah.
So, a silly example, but it is an example of how I believed that I wasn't good enough to pass this
Yeah.
exam, and there was a people doing this story in my head.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to come to terms with it, and I was like, I had to put myself in check, like, get a grip. It's gonna be okay. So yes, um, but you know, we all do this human thing, and so it's so important to recognize this. So important to learn and see the excitement in the learning process. And I don't want anybody to feel bad about what you uncover in a limiting belief or what you uncover by being in survival mode. How do you know you're in survival mode if you don't even try to, look past? You don't,
Yeah.
right?
True.
You don't even know you're living on autopilot. You have no idea. So why would you harm yourself anymore by
Yeah.
judging yourself about it? There is no judgment here. Something is growing, is accepting, it's learning, it's turning the page to whatever's done is done. But you have the opportunity to live a different life every single day. Every single day. And I encourage this, I say this to my weight loss clients, to everybody. Okay, so what? You ate 3 bags of chips yesterday. That was yesterday. You don't have to do that again today.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. You're right.
That's how we learn. That's how we grow. And that's how we move from surviving to thriving.
I like the whole play as a
Remember that
kid too. And all the acting like you're childish dancing free. I like that too. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, that's a good point. Be playful. I think we forget to play. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I have kids that are 4 and 6, and I'm always too busy to play with them. Oh, I can't. I'm busy. I'm cleaning. I'm cooking. Mommy, come play with me. And I felt so bad the other day, and I took the wrestlers and I was playing in the rink, and I'm like, oh, this means so much to them. I remember my mom not able to play with me because she was busy, and it's like I always felt bad, but now I understand. But I know my kids don't understand that moms are busy. But yeah, it's good to take that break and sit back and just play. Yeah,
And how great is it felt for you and for them?
absolutely. It means so
You know,
much.
to
It
both
puts,
of you.
yeah, puts things into perspective, right? For sure.
Did it really take?
5, 10 minutes. Because then they get bored and they want to do something else. So it really wasn't that. It wasn't like an hour chore where I had to stop making dinner and doing the dishes. Yeah.
And that's another thing that I am guilty of, and we can all say we're guilty of, is we can all stop, but we create the scenario in our head where we got to get through that checklist, where I got to get through X, Y, and Z by the end of the day. And somehow, some way, it always finds its way and it all works out. Did that 10 minutes really like shift your day so
Nope.
dramatically?
No. Nope. And I got to realize sometimes I'm just too uptight. Need to relax, be more present in the moment for sure.
And that's thriving. That's what it is. It's those little things. And it's also self care. You
Yep.
know, playing is part of self care. That is somebody's medicine in yoga therapy and Ayurvedic yoga therapy and in
Is.
health and wellness coaching.
Mm-hmm.
That is, like how do you let yourself unwind? How do you let yourself connect? And it's a really wonderful tool for finding out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Great way to do that. I mean, explore things like that. And I say this with like all of my heart. Give yourself a chance, everybody, because life is just so darn precious. So darn, and it's so beautiful when you can see that all of the chaos and all of these things that we create in our minds and that we do live through are just tools to help us.
True.
All an experience, and it's all wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are, we've all gone through some very, very difficult transitions. Things are changing so fast, I feel like. And, the world is going, and sometimes I feel like we're trying to catch up with it.
Yeah, of course.
Then do we have to? And sometimes I say to myself, I don't know. Why do I have to?
Yeah.
You know, why? Can I just be me?
And
And,
just show up as me, right? Part of the showing up conversation, which I know we're going to end with. Yeah.
and it is. It's all part of showing up. When you're showing up, you're learning to thrive. It's so connected, and all of these conversations have been so interwoven. And one day I'm going to go back and listen to all of these and just kind of like, because there's such a synchronicity.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody, a little piece from one conversation to another conversation, the littlest difference makes the biggest impact in somebody's day, in somebody's life,
Yeah.
or in connection. It's just about showing up.
Yeah.
It just
Exactly.
is.
And what is that? Hashtag be well, be fit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hashtag be well, be fit.
Be free.
Can
I
you
didn't
see
see
it?
that part. Now I see the be free. I was happy with the first part, thinking it was, yeah, I like it. The last words too. Awesome. Leaping Lotus Wellness Studio. How do we get in touch with you?
So, Leaping Lotus Wellness Studio, you can find me, Leelah Carpenito, at leapinglotusfit.com. You can email me, leapinglotusfit@gmail.com, and call me anytime. You can also text this phone number, 201-903-5028. Social media, Facebook and Instagram, Leaping Lotus Wellness Studio.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here. And we obviously enjoy your company week after week, talking so many things that really, you're right. It comes down to, we're talking a lot about the same things, but in a different, but it all comes down to one thing: living a happier, joyful, peaceful life, right?
And we all can, and we can all feel good.
Oh, well, thank you so much for your time today. It's a pleasure speaking with you and looking forward to the next time we speak. Okay, sweetheart, you have a great day. And to all of our listeners, the same. Stay tuned. More of the show is on the way. Bye-bye. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.